Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. Parts, any that you'd like to explore, get to know better, change your relationship with?
Well, what I'm leaning towards today, I listened to one of the previous sessions last night. I think you know that because I sent you some
some notes,
some thoughts about it. And then I also was going back through some kind of little journal stuff about IFS work that I've done on my own and other things. And someone seems to be featuring prominently. I noticed that when I am going into these scenes with hurt parts, there's a protector part that often just kind of shows up in the scene and wants to curse everybody out. not the hurt part, obviously, but everyone else. And I'm also curious about her, and I've done some work with her, and I have she's one of the few that is very, I can see very visually. She even has her own apartment, etc. But there was one time, so I had done some work with this part, and then I had checked in with her, for several days when I was doing good at that. And one time I checked in and she said, "I'm doing fine, but you're not getting to the baby." And I didn't know what that meant, and I still don't. But I came back across that note yesterday, and I was like, interesting. There's songs involved. I don't know. There's a lot that she just kind of not throws up, but inserts when I connect to her. I don't know how to better say anything than what I just said. But.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of.
It's always.
I mean, it's a lot of useful information. It's a lot to know about a part. And really a great head start compared to. I don't know. I feel weird. Right? You've done a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some questions.
Okay.
Just about what you have heard. When it says you're not getting to the baby, is it telling you that, or is it complaining about that?
No, it's telling. At that time, and I was not I didn't have any cognizant notion of a baby part.
Okay. That was
and I was just like, doing my check-in, and I was like, how's it going? And that was the response. And it was like, I'm great. Everything's fine. We're doing fine, but you're not getting to that.
Okay.
And I found that, puzzling. And I find the notion of trying to access whatever that is pointing to, kind of muddy and murky, because I'm going to assume that a baby part's not going to communicate in the same ways that others do. And it feels like a thick piece of work to try to do by myself.
Yeah.
Or at all.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm always providing you with thick work to do. But yeah, I found that note last night. And as I was looking back into and kind of checking back into the scenes from the session that I was listening to again last night, it's like when I go into any session with a hurt part, she is there and wanting to like beat people up or curse people out, or the people that have been hurtful. And so she shows up as well. There was another session that we did about like physical touch that isn't enjoyable. When I visit those images or scenes, she's there wanting to like kick somebody off of me. Like she likes to kick things. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm just like, blah, blah, blah.
You're making it so I don't even have to ask questions because you're preempting them.
Okay, cool. But she shows up. She shows up. Like there was one session I did with my therapist, and I had to ask her to wait outside because she like wants to jump in and tell everybody off, and
okay,
just she wants the redos to be like maybe violent, if not at least extremely stern.
Okay.
Aggressive would be a good word to nutshell it.
Yeah. When she's doing that, when you're trying to go to hurt parts, maybe you could put this in a percentage, or you could answer this however you want. You said that, her anger is directed at the people who have been hurtful.
Yeah.
But of course it's showing up in you. So I'm wondering how much of her energy is kind of, if any, is pointed at other parts in you.
Other parts in me?
Is she mad about the process or anything internal?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't see her as being, no, even I was about to say maybe she's mad at like wimpy parts or something, but I don't think so. She's just like, let me get in there. Let me get in there and kick somebody is basically. She's much more articulate than that, really. Like she's enjoyable. But no, I don't feel like none of it is pointed inwardly. It's just like, okay, if we're going to go back to revisit a scene, I'm going to show up and throw a chair, which I don't know if that's disruptive or not, as long as I can stay, separate from her. But I just noticed that she pops up when I'm revisiting some of our sessions, or like going back and trying to be more complete in reprocessing some things. But she's on standby, and wants to reprocess things with kicking and throwing chairs and cursing out. Basically.
Okay.
It's how she thinks it should be done.
Yeah, I don't have any argument about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I wouldn't say, well, that's you're doing it wrong if you're doing it that way. I wouldn't want to assume that.
Yeah, I don't think she's doing it wrong either. I just notice her showing up a lot lately. When I'm getting to an internal space, I'm not mad about how she wants to do it, and sometimes I feel amused by it. But I just wanted to circle back around to her, I think.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound as though she doesn't need to show up, or like that she, like I said, sometimes I have to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to ask her to stand outside of the space where I'm trying to do this. So that
works for you.
Generally, yeah. So that I can be unblended from just being her in those, like internally. I never am her externally. But I think I just was curious around the comment that she had made, and kind of wondering if I could go back to it and see if there was something there that I could maybe get further with.
Great. Okay. Can you access her now?
She's playing a song in my head.
Oh. Can you get her attention? And how are you feeling towards her right now?
I generally enjoy her. Yeah, I feel I'm always curious about this part. I don't have any beef with her. If I did, I'd be afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have
any. And you've mentioned, you've had this relationship. You have worked with her. You have negotiated with her. She has stood outside, and you have, sounds like you've shown her some appreciation in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So you feel like you're ready to invite her to speak with you and ask her any of your questions, but you could just start with the open-ended. What does she want you to know?
Oh, okay. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not saying out loud what the part says. Like, it's just like,
fine.
I will remain buck wild and you will not tame me, kind of thing.
Awesome. I'm totally fine with that. Just for the record.
Okay.
That is very welcome here in my book.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Okay. Does she feel like, or do you feel like there are parts who are more interested in taming her than, are those parts up?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know that they were up until you said that. And I was like, who are they? But like the last session that you and I did, which was kind of a confusing one, I think, for both of us, where there was the keep your mouth shut part is very much, not in line with her.
Right.
Yeah. Timid parts. Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't have any. She doesn't seem to have any like animosity towards any of my parts that I'm aware, but some of them are like, whoa, we got to get her like wrangled,
Yeah. Okay.
Like, don't let her out, which,
okay.
Yeah. Externally, I don't really, I've never cursed somebody out,
Okay.
Or kicked anyone for that matter.
And so can you ask them for space and maybe create a space with her that feels safe and comfortable and allows her to be herself without scaring the other parts?
Yeah, we have a few places that we can be. She wears a leather jacket, no matter what the setting is. Okay. We're chilling somewhere.
All right. Does she have more that she wants to share, specifically around, like, you're not going to tame me? Does she feel like she's in a place where that's not the goal?
Well, I mean, the world is a place that is like that. I mean, especially if you're a woman.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's not, I don't think that the you're not going to tame me is at me.
Great.
As much as it is at the world and life and, conditioning and society.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. I think, if I did this 10 years ago, she'd probably be mad at me because I was probably denying her nonstop. Mm-hmm. But that's done. So I don't think feels like I'm trying to extinguish her at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, society and life and other parts and stuff are forever trying to, wrangle and corral.
Okay. So she has this list of issues, things that are in her way or trying to get in her way. There's society, there's other parts.
Yeah, she's mad about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And then I'll put that question mark baby on the list too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I get, like, when she comes into all these different scenes, it's like, she's like, fuck this. I know how to take care of this. And that's how I think she feels about this, question mark baby.
Yeah.
It's always weird to me, or like strange and surprising when a part just like blurts out something that you're like, well, completely mysterious. Wasn't, it's like, I can't make this shit up, But yeah, I think she's like, I am the only one who is qualified to look after the baby, despite, the fact that she'd rather be drinking whiskey or something like that, mm-hmm. and kicking people.
What does she want to talk about? How does she want to use this time that she has our attention?
There's a part that's trying to get in and say, like, I don't want to talk about what she wants to talk about. Harkens back to, and she wants, like, when you ask that, it's almost like a soup of topics that comes at me.
Yes. So that's one of the concerns, maybe, but is that it'll be too soupy?
No, what I mean is, like, there's it's the information comes in a way that is thicker than verbal information, meaning, mm-hmm. like, I sense all of these things that she's angry about, mm-hmm. Faster than I could speak them.
Okay.
But the one that there was, another part was like, no, not that, is going back to the most recent session where she's wanting to, quote, kick a motherfucker off of me.
Yes.
Which is not recent, but there's like more than one instance.
Yes. Can you get space from the one that doesn't want to mm-hmm. let that out or let her express that?
Oh. You just... Oh, she's funny. Let me try. Like, she's just so, but somehow endearingly volatile. She's like, you want me to get rid of them? I'll kick them away from us, as well, like everyone else.
The part she's offering to. Nah.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. You want me to take care of this?
Ask her how that's been working out for her.
Good enough, she says. I get this, like, although I feel like she has like more to look after than she wants to. She's not one of those parts that doesn't like her job, I don't think. I mean, I think she truly enjoys, it seems to me, aside from feeling like she's got too many kids or something, you know? I think she would enjoy kicking another part away who doesn't agree, you know? Or that's how it seems.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, it's working good enough.
Okay.
Tiresome though, like, because there's so many kind of parts that are afraid of her energy.
Right.
So she's like, if they would all just settle down, it'd be fun.
Yeah. So that would be one option. One thing that would solve her problems.
Right.
And if she didn't do any of the attempted kicking of other parts, what would be the negative consequence of that?
She's like, you'd let people run all over you. Yeah. Like, you would successfully deny and avoid anger as though it were, something to be denied and avoided.
And how do you feel towards her as you hear her say that?
She's right.
Yeah.
Because I did that for a long time. Like, I don't think I ever even could admit to myself that I was angry about anything.
Yeah. And are you able now to admit,
large chunk of my life?
Are you able now to admit to her that you haven't been as responsive or open to what she needed and wanted to express to you?
Yeah. She's like, oh God, are you crying already? But yeah.
She doesn't want people running all over you.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't want a whole bunch of stuff, but like, she can only affect anything that has to do with me. She doesn't want a whole bunch of stuff that like happens in the world, but I'm the only one she can have an influence over. So at the very least, she's like, at the very least, you know, you should listen to me.
How do you respond to that?
I respond by cheersing our beers together.
Yeah, great.
I'll drink to that. Not literally, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, we have I think we have a decent like camaraderie.
Sounds like it.
But she's still like, you know, there's stuff that you aren't qualified for, that she still has to like take care of.
How does she see you?
Meaning, like, what does she think of me?
Kind of, yeah.
Mm.
Or how does she see you? Is she facing you? Is she recognizing you? Does she know your real age?
We're sitting next to each other. I mean, she doesn't make like constant eye contact, you know, but she's accepting of me.
She got your age right?
You know, you've come a long way, but you're still kind of a wimp sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I a lot of times, and I've said this before, but a lot of times my parts are, you know, that they all seem, or not all, but many of them are like, I'm hip to this game about how old we think you are. Like, you know, I'm aware of the number of years that we've been at this, but, you know, you're not all that mature at times. She's like, you don't seem much older than me, kind of thing.
Which is?
She's 27.
Uh-huh. So not so mature, kind of wimpy, late 20s.
I know I said she liked me. Doesn't sound like it, does it? Oh. She's like, if I wasn't here, you know, you'd get run over, or you wouldn't speak up, or.
And in your 20s or some other times, was there truth to that?
A bunch of times, yeah.
A bunch of times, yeah.
A bunch of times.
Great.
Or not, I mean, not like to an extreme degree. Like, I don't think other people would describe me that way. But yes, like in a deep and internal sense, yes. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, I don't think other people will be like, oh, she gets run over by everyone. But, oh, crap, I did say that.
I'll edit it out. I got you.
Yeah, she's totally, she's not no bullshitter. You know what I mean? Like, she's never said anything that I'm like, what? Like sometimes, you know, I'm wanting to sort of negotiate or argue with my parts, but with her, I'm like, yeah, true. Most of the time.
Okay. So I'm wondering if maybe when you're saying this is true, that's true, if that's coming from a place of self, or if that's coming from being blended with a wimpy, immature part.
I thought you were going to suggest I was being blended with her. That's a more interesting question. Yeah, there's a little bit of, like kind of looking up to her in a way. Yeah, so there's that. Because I think there's a lot of parts in there that that she takes care of. So it would make sense. It would make sense that there would be a bunch of parts in there that think she's pretty great. I mean, I do too. I do too as self I do, but I think that's the question.
Right. Yeah. There's a difference between respecting and, you know, acknowledging versus I need you to protect me and I'm a wimp without you kind of feeling. Yeah. So maybe you can just let that part know that we notice it. Ask it for space.
I feel like it runs around and hides behind her now. Like if I ask it to separate it from me, it's like tucks itself in behind her.
Yeah, how old is that part?
It was a sneaky part. Hold on. Let me see. It's like she's kind of like tucked it into her jacket now and is kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, who? What part?
We all have wimpy parts. We all have less mature parts, right?
Yeah.
And just let her know that just like you create this space where she can be herself, you can do that for all the other parts. This other part can have its own space with self also. And it can be seen and appreciated in the same way.
I'm seeing something right now, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm not making it up or inserting it or like, oh, well, yeah, look, now I have a baby on my knee or whatever. Like, I need to like check in for a second. Yeah, this feels accurate. It's not an infant, but like a little tot. That hides behind her.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel towards that part?
A bunch of ways, but all of them are good.
And how does her protector feel about us noticing her?
She's just going to stay. She's like, I'm not leaving the area, just so you know. You're allowed to hold her, but I'm not leaving.
We have a lot of options.
Okay. Remind me what those are.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if you're in self energy, then do the one that feels right for you.
Okay.
I'm happy to list some options that I can think of.
Right now, what I feel is that I just need to appreciate that she's letting me, even
Yeah. Okay.
see the small parts.
Yeah.
And that if I was to try to be like, come on, let me just convince you to let, she'd be like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember also, in those notes that I found, one of the things that she said, which was interesting because it really hit some truth, was like, I will let you see the baby if you believe in her. Meaning like not seeing this as some made up thing. So I think that's what I need to convey.
Yeah.
Is like, I know you're just not some made up thing. Because there is a part, I think, there is a part
that thinks it's made up.
Right. That's like, okay, cute. You know, like we will process our emotions by making up characters or whatever. And the protector, whose name I shall not share, is like, you're not seeing the baby if you don't believe in the baby.
Right. Have you worked with that protector? And if so, is there more work to do there? Is that something to put on the table here with the parts you have now in the room and say, I get it. I see that part. And
when
it's on my list.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm saying is this protector that I'm sitting here having a beer with is the one who said, I won't let you see the baby unless you believe in her.
Right. And the part
then there's the other part. You're talking about that one.
Yeah.
The one that says like, this isn't real.
Right. But to shorten it, is there more work to be done there?
As in like believing in these parts as being real?
In working with the part that doesn't believe it. Is that something that
there might be a little bit, because I think that's why it's hard for me to access this part, or why it tries to hide from me behind her, is like it can feel this little bit. It's not, I mean, like, it's not the primary thought or feeling, especially right now, but it's there. You know, the like, okay, we'll make up a cute character, or I think it's like the stuff that I can remember, you know, that where I can see what happened feels more real than trying to process the feelings of before I can remember.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Me too. That part is just like, okay, well, you're just going to be making this up if you try to like have this baby part.
And yet
stuff's
in there.
There it is. Yeah.
But it's also, you know, something we can look out for. Let's look out for making stuff up. Let's look out for making sure that we're getting the straight story from parts every time.
Okay. I can't get any like sort of read on that part. The one that says like, you know, if you try to process baby stuff, then it's all going to be made up or it's not real.
That's okay. I wasn't actually suggesting that we even go to it. I just wanted to see if it would kind of help in your negotiation and your discussion with these parts that you have in the room now, of just acknowledging that that's a thing, that's something you want to work on or can work on, or if any of that would be helpful. And I'm sorry if that was kind of a detour.
That's okay. It's this, I mean, we're figuring this out, right? Yeah. It was just like, there was like this whole, I'm sitting in a place with these parts. And then when I tried to like check in on that, it was like, I was just there by myself all of a sudden.
Yes.
No one else, everybody left. I wasn't looking. And then as soon as you say what you just said, they're there again.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
you can get back with them.
So I'm basically just giving an apology for having those thoughts or feelings.
Parts.
Right.
And not for having them, but because you didn't create them.
Yeah, I know.
It's your relationship with them. It's your relationship with them that you can tune up. It's not that you have them.
Yeah. Right. And when I said that, I was like, that's not quite right, but yeah, I can't try to make everything perfect coming out of my mouth, right? Not that I'm saying that you're implying that I should, but it's good to just have another human being that isn't me that's talking. That gets it. So basically, it's more like, I'm sorry that I let that part come between us, sort of thing. Not that I shouldn't have a relationship with it too, but
it's almost because of a lack of a relationship that parts are able to interfere with each other.
Right.
And with their connection with you.
Mm-hmm.
So what feels right next with this protective part and the tot?
I think I just need to spend a moment like connecting again and trying to convey that I'm quite certain that they are both real. And that whatever could be shared is not going to be dismissed. But I still get this very strong feeling that she is not leaving the baby with me today. Like she keeps just restating, like, when we part from here, I'm taking her with me.
How do you respond to that?
I'm just thanking her for letting me see her.
Great. Yeah.
Not hiding her from me and trusting me. I mean, she's letting me hold her and hug her and things, but the let's call it the kicking part is just like I'm right here. It's very clear that she does not intend to leave the area still, and that's just how she comes across. But she's letting me interact.
Yeah. What would she rather be doing if she didn't have to keep such a close eye, especially if this baby was safe with you?
She's like, I'm not just going to abandon. She's like, I'm not just going to abandon my baby. The baby. It's not like her child, obviously. When you said that, I was like, kind of reframing it to her, like, what if I just like babysat sometimes? Like, what if you trusted me to have her for a little while? But like, it wasn't like you were just completely walking away from protecting her. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does. I think it's a fine line of inquiry.
She is, for the moment, she's like, maybe some other time.
What would she rather be doing with her energy? Just hypothetically. She's tired from having all this responsibility.
She has a few different answers to that, all of which go with everything I've said before. She would like to be rocking out or moving or, I don't know, riding a motorcycle or just something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does it feel safe or okay to see what the baby has to say about any of this?
I feel safe, but I'm not getting communication. So maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but it doesn't feel unsafe to me. But she's not yet. She's just kind of sitting there looking at me.
What does she want?
The first word that comes is safety.
Yeah.
She just wants snuggly cozies and stuff. She just wants hugs and things And
when it comes to the snuggly cozies, well, she's been hiding behind this tough part because the safety comes first. I'm wondering.
The tough part is wanting you to know that she gives snugglies too.
Oh, that's so good to know.
Okay. She's like, excuse me. She's not only tough.
I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you for letting me see that other side of you.
Yeah, she's like, I don't give them out to everyone, but the baby is not going without snugglies just because she's great. The tough part.
I really admire that. So if the baby could get it from you also, then we could at least say that could maybe supplement.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the baby seems happy at the moment. She's very well adjusted at the moment.
Why didn't this part want you to see her? Was it only because of the not believing part? Or is there some other...
That's what brings up emotion when you say not believing. It's that's where I feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think, she just finds it insulting she's like, why should I let you have any time with her if you don't believe she's real? And the tough part is reiterating something that was said to me earlier that I don't think is said out loud, but she feels she has to be there because because the baby doesn't have a voice of her own.
Oh.
You know?
I know that that's what the part is saying.
Meaning she had to come in and protect her because a baby can't say like, hey, this is fucked up, you know?
Right.
So that's why she looks after her.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I also think that it's the thing that self really can offer that's more than a supplement.
Right. I think it's more to say like that's why I have the baby. Is what she's like.
I understand.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that baby can have a voice. That baby can be understood.
Yeah.
And the protector doesn't need to justify. Like I don't think she did anything wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like, great, you did that. You helped out in the way that you knew how it helped.
Yeah, I think that's a good statement. Like she needs to be fully acknowledged.
Yeah. And does she feel like we're doing that, or are we once again kind of going to hurt parts while she's on the sidelines? Because that was kind of the concern from the beginning.
For a moment, I think she felt that way. And so, yeah. I don't want to overly focus on like getting the baby to myself.
Right.
Like to, because I can come back to the same place. We've been to this beach bar before. I know where it is. And I don't want to push her.
Right.
And I think that like, getting separate from strangely, like separating from the part that feels like a wimp without her makes the baby accessible to me, because it was that part. I don't know how to put this, but it's making sense to me. I
think it makes sense to me too. Yeah.
It's like, okay, now the baby's not hidden. I've seen her. And I'm not going to try to be like, hey, why doesn't she spend the night with me tonight? Or,
Right. And what a beautiful solution. This part is worried that you don't believe in the baby. And it took the courageous step, as did you, of, okay, well, let's just bring it out then. Rather than fighting about it or whatever, it's like this part said, well, here it is.
Yeah. I'm going to be quiet for a moment, but I'm doing stuff.
Okay, great.
Okay. I don't know why it always seems to go back to the car, but I'm like, we could all go for a ride. Me and the other two kids, and the baby and you, tough part. And that seems to be appreciable. So
this car is getting bigger and bigger. I hope it doesn't get too big. Might need to do a motorcycle gang. Or...
I mean, eventually we're going to need something else, but there was still the back seat open.
I'm thinking of like a motorcycle with like 20 sidecars.
That's funny. Yeah. I think that's where it might like conclude today. It's like we're all riding off, and I'm going to need to do some more checking in and maybe some more work on another occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to try to like force or rush to get her to like.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Great.
She's like, I'll go with you, but I'm going
right.
too.
That's, I mean, that's huge. It's incredible. You went from, you don't get to see the baby to, all right, let's all go. Let's all go in this vehicle. Baby's coming. You can hug it.
Yeah.
We're all together, at least. You know, that's pretty huge.
Yeah. I'm going to call that a good one.
And not to stretch the analogy too much, but you know, when you travel with someone, that's when you really get to know them.
That's true. So, I like stretching a metaphor or an analogy.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Okay.
Well,
I'll stay here. Y'all have fun.
Okay.
Hope we get to talk soon.
We will. I am going to have to either move or cancel my June 3rd one just because of a social thing. But
okay, I'll make a note of that and get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.